everybody. We are back with To the Hard Way. This is Demetra K, and I am here with Donovan Sadiq. He just got through throwing rocks on the other show, so you guys go check that out. We were sitting in with Max. We haven't seen her in a long time. It was good to see her. But anyway, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about South Africa. Now, if you guys have been following the news, and, you know, it's kind of weird because it hasn't really been trending in the news like everything else would be. And you have to wonder why.
Our woke black folks, you know, they're so
woke black folks and the white media haven't really been talking about what's going on in South Africa.
But Donovan did.
Right. Well, so you ask, what's going on in South Africa? Well, let me give you a little synopsis of what's going on. Okay, so in the last couple of weeks, the South African Parliament, they convened, and Julius Malema, I must say this about Mr. Julius Malema, and I told my man this, I said, I've got an intellectual crush on somebody. Okay. This guy here, this Julius Malema, he is the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters party out there, or organization out there in South Africa. So he was at the parliament, and he was actually speaking to the newly elected president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and said to him, listen, we elected you. Obviously, we wanted you here. He says, but we've also heard and seen you say how you're going to do this, you're going to implement these programs, you're going to help the kids. And he says, what you're not going to do, and I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much said this is what you're not going to do is get in here for a whole year, be planning and seeing what I'm going to do, and then a whole year has gone by and you've done nothing. He said, because that'll be the last and only year that you do. And he says, by any means, don't think that you're going to be a king. You're going to come in here and obtain all of this wealth on the backs of people like all the other leaders have done.
Corruption.
You're going to come in here and actually do something. And he says, and while we're at it, to the white people that have come over here and been here since, the 1800s and colonized Africa, your time is up. In fact, what we are going to do is we're going to take your land, and they're specifically calling it...
I got to correct you. It's not their land.
Well, I know, but I'm saying what he's telling them is expropriation without compensation, basically saying, we're taking back the land, whether you think it's yours or whoever it belongs to, we're taking it back, and we're not going to give you anything for it because it wasn't yours in the first place. And he went on to say, for those of you guys who don't agree, we're going to consider you the enemy. You are the opposition, if that's the way it's going to be done. And so... you haven't seen it on mainstream media. And you kind of see like the little right wings. I guess the same thing, right?
Yeah, the propaganda that they show.
Yeah, they're saying, you know,
how lady, that girl.
I've seen her and then Alex Jones, you know, all those cats who, you know, saying it's so unfair. And
why is Alex Jones involved when he lives in this country? Let them.
Well, because they're white people, and
so they stick together.
There's a petition that's gone around. I haven't received. I think change.org. There's gotten like 20,000 signatures, probably predominantly from white people. And as I said on my show Sunday, probably 3 black people. You know, there's a few of us out there who agree with them.
Of course.
Are saying, let them come over here. Oh, my gosh, it's such a tragedy. It's horrible. Yeah. Let the white people come over here. But then on the other hand, it's like, wait, hold on a damn minute. Aren't you guys the one that said, let's build the wall too? So is it just good for the wall, good for people who are darker than you? And then, you know, you can let everybody who looks like you immigrate over here because it's so terrible. I say this, though. I say, I agree with Julius Malema. Like I said, I do, you know. And I also agree that they do need to leave. But how about go to where you're from?
Your ancestral land, right?
Go whether it's...
You're the Dutch.
Exactly.
You're Dutch.
But during they call it the Berlin Conference. During the Berlin Conference in 1884, nations like the UK, Germany, France, Italy, all these other countries decided how they will go in and take over Africa and divide it up. So you guys go back over there. You don't need to come over here. Go to where you're from and rebuild.
Go with your people, right?
Right, go over there. And so, of course, you have all these white people here and there. They're crying about what's going on in Africa. It's not right. You know, they're taking back, they're taking our land.
Without compensating us.
Without compensating us. And, you know, they're saying there's murders and stuff going on there. Now, I don't feel like this. If murders were so rampant like they're saying it is over there, well, how come the UN hasn't gotten involved? How come you don't hear Trump's orange self talking about, or anybody else.
He's got too many problems. Trump's got his own
right.
problems.
But I'm saying they're white people. You know, why isn't it not on the news every day?
Right. You bring up a good point. Let's take a look at a clip so people can get an idea of what you're talking about, what we've been talking about. Like I said, once again, it's funny how, you know, your show and my show, we're one of the first to report this. But that's what I'm saying. You have this internet and nobody utilizes it to find out the truth for themselves.
Right.
So let's go ahead and take a look at this clip and see what you're saying.
The South African Parliament has voted in favour of new legislation that could see land from white farmers seized. RT's Paula Sleer has the details.
South African Parliament has backed a motion that calls for changing the constitution and allowing for land expropriation without compensation. Essentially, white South Africans will lose their land. They will not be compensated, this despite the fact that it flies in the face of the current constitution. It follows the inauguration of the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa 2 weeks ago. He has said that he wants to speed up the transfer of land from white to black South Africans. Now, despite the fact that apartheid ended 2 decades ago, you still have a situation in South Africa where most of the land is owned by whites. This is a hugely emotive subject for South Africans. The motion was brought in Parliament by the Economic Freedom Fighters Party. Now, it did receive the support of the ruling African National Congress that holds some 2/3 of the Parliament. The leader of the EFF had this to say.
The time for reconciliation is over. Now is the time for justice. We must ensure that we restore the dignity of our people without compensating the criminals who stole our land.
Malema is a controversial and somewhat radical figure in South Africa. In the past, he has said that he's not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least not yet. In recent years, there has been a spike in the killing of farmers in South Africa. Now, those who support the motion say it will go a long way to restoring justice, but those who criticize it say it will do anything but. There are those who say it will lead to unforeseen consequences and also will be a scapegoat that the ANC can use to explain away its own failures. Nonetheless, it certainly seems as if we're far away from restoring racial tensions in a country that has so much history mired in them.
These men are surveying a site they manage. They think of themselves as property developers of sorts. This is what they call phase 1 of a land invasion, more than 10,000 shacks. They say they're tired of waiting for the ANC to give them land.
They were supposed, when they were taking over from the apartheid government, they were supposed to change the constitution, but they never done that. But they were keeping on promising, but not delivering. Now we are saying enough is enough.
One of the main reasons the ANC was formed in 1912 was because black Africans were losing their land, often being forcibly removed from it. More than a century later, most of the best land in South Africa remains in the hands of a few thousand, mostly white commercial farmers. After 23 years in power, the ANC's only managed to return a fraction of the land to black people. The latest research suggests about 20%. That makes land a defining issue, and one the ANC thinks it may be able to solve if it changes the constitution, allowing it to take land without giving compensation. But the ANC says it won't go ahead with the change if it will hurt the food supply. Dan Kriek can't see how that's possible. He's been representing farmers in talks with the ANC and says many people like him are committed to returning land to black people.
We want to work with government, and we have funding models, and we extend property rights to new farmers. We can actually make much faster progress if we work together. I've not lost hope in terms of land reform in any way.
But from an economic point of view, there are concerns over how changes to the constitution will impact farmers.
If you expropriate without compensation, they would not be able to service their debts. Practically all that debt, or at least 75% of that debt, is collateralized through the value of the land. So that they would default on those loans that they have with the banks.
But these men believe the debt owed to them and their people is far more important. The ANC government may have been too slow to help them, but if it speeds up the transfer of land into the hands of black people, it could dramatically change the face of land ownership in South Africa. Tania Page, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.
So, I mean, there you have it. I mean, you want to go ahead and further expound upon that?
Well, okay, statistically, they're saying 25% of all Afrikaners who are Boers over there are
Boers being the white
people,
South
right.
Africans. I guess they don't want to be called
Afrikaners. Yeah. They're saying 25% are living in poverty. Oh my God, what a shame! Now here's my question to you: what did they think was going to happen?
Well, it's prophecy. You know, it's prophecy, it's karma, all of that has always been said, and this is where I think white people are shaking in their boots a little bit. It's always been prophesized that the darker people of the earth will rise and take back what was taken from them. So that's not a secret to anybody. And so, I mean,
sooner or later, payback is coming.
Right, be like, but listen, I'm not trying to be offensive to white people because I understand a lot of you guys get in your feelings when I say certain things. But I just like to say this, a lot of white people are very delusional.
Very delusional.
Do you honestly,
you can kill all these black folks over here and expect nothing to happen to you.
Like they think that's their right to do that. And I've seen this white chick on YouTube. I can't think of her name. So she does these exposés and this documentary. So she's spending some time in South Africa.
And she's being paid by a right-wing thing.
Of course she is. Yeah. So she's going and she's interviewing these white South Africans or these boomers or whatever they want to call themselves. And they got all these tears flowing of how terrible it is. And so in her comment sections, all these white people are saying, niggers are gonna fail. We hope the black people fail. They don't know how to farm. And I almost wanted to jump out of this chair because it's like, who do you think taught you guys how to do all that stuff? We taught you guys how to do all that stuff. So all of a sudden we're asking for our land back. We're gonna fail. We can't do it without you.
But even if we do fail, so what? It's our land.
It's our land. If we want to burn it up and do whatever we want, it's our land. It's not for you guys to decide what we get to do with it. And it's the same thing over here that they've done to Mexican people. Where they taking it and then they want to tell them to get out. Man, I'm telling you, they better wake up.
Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe, he did this like 20 years ago.
Right.
And economically, it devastated the country. Their inflation went up to like 6,000%.
Right.
But after a 15 or 20-year period, he kicked all the white folk, took their land, and that's one of the things that I will agree with Robert Mugabe. He was right about doing that.
Right.
Okay, these people had the land for so long, they had all the equipment, whatever. He kicked them out. It took us 15, 20 years to recover. Of course, get rid of Mugabe, too.
Yeah, but hell, it took a long time to get that way as well.
Exactly. So now they're recovering once they got rid of Mugabe. They're starting to recover. So now you have these Afrikaners, Boers that are there. Here they are. What people don't understand about South Africa and what they're not telling you, what that girl's not telling you. Yeah. Majority of the wealth in South Africa is still owned by the white people.
They said 70% of the white people. Oh no, it's a small percent of the white people that own like 70% of the wealth.
Right.
And so it's like, tell the whole story. Tell the whole story of how they went in there with all these other, white nations and stole Africa and made it their own. And now it's time for y'all to get the F out. Deuces, good riddance. Don't fit. No, hey, if you guys are so resourceful, I'm talking to and watching. If y'all so resourceful and y'all made Africa what it was, then go do that where you came from.
Go back and put those riches. But the thing is, though, Africans are smart enough to say, you ain't taking this stuff with you.
Right. I mean, we know that South Africa and Africa in general has been raped and pillaged of all of their resources. And I saw some white dude, I'm trying to be cool because this kind of stuff really makes me mad. Talking about, what are you guys going to do when you're out of water in 2 years? Who's going to give you water?
Yeah, Cape Town is supposed to be.
So it's like, so we're asking for what's ours. You're wishing devastation on those people. Well, you know what? That's why I have no sympathy for white tears when it comes to that. I'm going to just keep it real. I don't.
And in that symposium or that documentary, even some of the white people were saying they long for the days of apartheid, the good old days.
Yeah, but now that it's happening to them, and it's happening to them rightfully.
And when I was watching the videos and stuff, I was like, it was amazing to me because it was like, okay, when we were going through our apartheid, and I say we because I'm of African descent. Yeah. When we were going through our apartheid, we're getting killed, we're getting murdered, we can't walk here, we got to have papers, whatever the deal is. And we went through that for a long ass time.
Right.
And people were disappearing and, you couldn't see their loved ones. And now it's happened to them. And they're saying, what a tragedy. Oh, how dare.
Well, how was it a tragedy then, now and it wasn't then? And so it's like they say, it's no fun when a rabbit has the gun. So all of a sudden that black people, and you know what? This is not the first and the last time this is going to happen. Because like you said, in Zimbabwe it's taking place. This is going to be a thing, a normal thing now. Right. I think what it's starting to do is set precedents for all the other African people around the world and saying, listen, nobody's going to give it to you. You're going to have to go take it. Right. These white people have intruded and encroach upon everything on the planet. It does not belong to them. It didn't belong to them. So take it back unapologetically.
Well, here's the funny thing. To me, they're saying Africa for Africans.
And that's what the white Africans have said.
Right? Africa for Africans. Right. So I don't see African people invading the Dutch East Indies and their land. They're saying, hey, okay, this is ours. You guys go over there. We're going to stay here. Right. And there's been a movement in Africa for the United States of Africa. Now, just think if all those African nations could get together. And
I honestly believe that they will, because this is just the law of nature, that you can't hold somebody down for too long. Right. They're either going to do one or two things. They're going to die or they're going to fight. Right. And so that's what's going on with black people, not just even in Africa, but all over. Black people are starting to say, you know what? If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out and I'm going to take some people with me, or I'm going to go out fighting. I'm going to go out trying. No longer are we going to be subjected to this false idea of white supremacy, and that because I'm white, I'm right, and I get to do anything I want to do to you. And if you bark back, then something's wrong with you.
Yeah. And the funny thing that you say that too is if you look at all these leaders that are rising now in Africa, they are of the millennial generation.
Julius Malema is only 46 years old.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sorry, 36 years old. He's a very young guy. He's been active since he was 6 with the ANC. He was like the junior, whatever it was. And so he's just been active ever since. And so he's just more or less like, we have nothing else to lose here. He's, we've seen Mandela and,
nothing happened there.
And so now we're done talking.
We have to move forward.
We need to take action. You know what? White people, it is what it is.
Yeah, the ANC under Mandela, and don't get me wrong, I know it is sacrilegious to talk about Mandela like it is to talk about Beyonce.
You gotta tell the truth, though.
But the truth is, he should have done that when he first became the president and he took over from P.W. Botha. Right. And said, hey, this is how it's going to be, whatever. What Mandela did was he didn't do anything. He just said the status quo was, set, and he let it and that's the problem. Something that was revolutionary was watered down and tampered, and they bought into the system.
Right, and the thing too, one thing I would say about Mandela in regards to the ANC, when he came into power, the ANC was the ruling party, and it still from 1984 was it 94 until or 84?
No, 93
something like that, 93. Until now, it's been a ruling party. So that's,
And the corruption has just...
Right. But, you have somebody like Julius Malema who is like, enough.
Right. Well, what the ANC to me is, it's like what the NAACP is. We haven't done nothing since 1990.
We're just hearing name. You guys know us by
Mandela.
We've done something good a long time ago, and we're still riding the train of did something good. It was 20 years ago, though.
Even though the white people still control all the wealth, we just stopped.
Right. We kind of called some shots. So
they put a black face on a problem like they did here in the United States.
Right.
With Obama. Yeah. You put a black face on it. We've been waiting ever since.
Right. And this is so awesome too, because this is I'm doing a show on my show, the Demetri Cray Show, on Sunday, and it's going to talk about politics, black politicians here. I mean, now and then, and basically how nothing's really changed. They're just different faces and stuff, but they've all just could have and continue to sell us the same bill of goods, which aren't really goods.
While they enrich themselves.
And get fame and fortune and all that. Yeah.
Did you happen to watch John Lewis? Once again, he's going to Selma.
To do what?
To walk across the bridge.
To do what?
Where they cracked his skull.
To do what?
To anniversary to celebrate.
Why? What are we celebrating?
That he went across the bridge.
And
he walked for freedom.
50 years ago.
With Dr. King.
Okay.
Exactly.
What else? Well, I mean, what?
Exactly.
Listen, that's been 50-some years ago.
Yes.
What have we done since then? Because as me and you talked about, we went to the NAACP meeting, and listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the NAACP.
No, tell the truth.
I just have my qualms with the NAACP for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. But on their literature, they said, you know, their claim to fame is something they did in 1967. That was the last thing they did. It's like, well, hell, that's older than I am.
Right.
That's the last time y'all did something that was worthy of saying you did.
Right, exactly.
Really? I mean, hell, Rachel Dolezal was more, you know.
They supported Obama.
Rachel Dolezal was the most popping thing that happened in the NAACP, and she was a white woman acting like a black woman.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, come on, NAACP. You know, it's like, but again, I'm gonna get more into it because I got a lot of research that I'm finishing. Those are the type of things that we associate with black progress.
While we still suffer.
Right, but we need to educate ourselves too. You know, a lot of us are getting ready to go to the polls in November, and we're going to go to the polls solely off of the word of some of these Negro peons who you see on the television or, you know, doing the circuits and all this stuff. We're going to go solely off of their word and go vote for the people they tell us to vote for because they're good people. But as you say, you know, talk about your girl Hillary a lot.
I've been saying it for a long time.
Most black people did vote for Hillary. But if you know, you do your research, you would ask yourself, well, why am I voting for Hillary? Mm-hmm. Hillary hasn't done anything progressive for black people. In fact, the policies that she was for and her husband were detrimental to the lives of black people. Mm-hmm. But yet, I'm with her.
I'm with her.
Why? Am I with her because you got your Roland Martins, you know, or your Angela Rye's, all these people telling you to be with her? Why are you with her? Mm-hmm. Ask them, why should I be with her?
Hey, again, that shows you how infantile we are and how we want the soundbite. And that's why I've been saying this for years, you know, and people were ostracizing me for years because I wasn't a Martin Luther King supporter. I'm not saying what Martin Luther King did wasn't important and, you know, big ups to Martin Luther King because he did what he thought was best.
Well, but what did Martin Luther King realize? What, a day or so before he was
died.
Murdered?
Yeah, he led his people into a trap.
Yeah, he said, I now realize that's what I've done. I've been teaching them and marching them down the wrong path. I should have been telling them something along with Malcolm X was saying. Hell, I died trying.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I think this is somebody said. I think it was maybe Malcolm or somebody else like that. But to me, it is criminal to teach a person not to defend themselves.
Yes,
that's criminal.
That's Malcolm X.
Yeah,
he said
that's
that.
Criminal. That's criminal.
But that's what we've been taught. You know what? But again, no shade to Martin Luther King because he did some great things. He did a lot of great things.
He did the best that he knew how.
That a lot of people wouldn't have done, you know. But we've been taught that from slavery. You know what? Listen, Master finna come in here and whoop your ass right after he whoop your mama ass. But you know what, boy? Don't you say nothing.
Right.
You take it because on Sunday when you get on the plane, you get your only day off. Now we're gonna force we're gonna force you to go to church. We ain't going to give you all the parts of the Bible. We're going to tell you the parts of the Bible where it says, forgive your master. Okay? Take it. And then when you get to heaven, you're going to be washed white as snow. And then everything is going to be good.
Right.
So then you have, you know, God rest his soul, Martin Luther King, like you said, who did the best he could, telling us that same thing. Listen, I know they put the water hose on you, the dogs and all this stuff. Just keep on marching. We shall overcome. But then he realized, wow. I've kind of helped my people suffer things they didn't need to suffer.
Right, and here's another thing I always tell people. Like I said, I was always ostracized as a young person. I'm a Christian and everything like that, but I studied Islam. I studied all these things. I read one of the best books I've ever read was the autobiography of Malcolm X. I mean, the first 2 chapters, I was crying.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the thing with Martin Luther King's like that. When you join the opposition that you're fighting against, you're a traitor to your people.
Well, I'm going to get into that too on Sunday. Okay. I you know.
John Lewis, your congressman, he hasn't done nothing since. I mean, it's like, remember, and I'm going to get you, sucker. I think I'm going to try to get a clip of it. Remember when he walked into the office of the pro-African guy? He goes, yeah, didn't you guys walk down there on a Friday? The government was hiring and all the brothers got jobs.
Right.
Water it down and then the movement stops.
Right. Yeah. So, and so that's why I said I really, one of the reasons I really love what's going on in South Africa, because they're like, you know what? And like I said, that wasn't, Julius Malima's speech was not even to white people per se. Right. It was to Cyril Ramaphosa and saying, listen, dude, Been there, done that.
Right.
You're here because the last president was acting a fool and,
Right.
thought he was king. And listen, we telling you that if you think you're going to do that and play these games, you won't be here long.
Right.
So we're putting you on notice. Get something done around here. Otherwise, we're going to get you up out of here.
Get you up out of here. And,
Right.
and we're going to be progressive and move forward. We've got to move the people forward.
Right.
It does not make sense. And see, this is why I know when they talk about democracy and stuff, white people don't really believe in democracy.
No, it's us-ocracy.
Yeah, they don't believe in it, because if you truly believe in majority rules, in Africa's case, 70% of the black people in Africa live in poverty.
White people, I just hate to say it. Like I said, I got a lot of white friends. They know how I am. Not that how I am is bad. I'm just going to be honest. White people, they just honestly, they are delusional.
Yeah, I mean, even here in the United States, Hillary won, I guess the count now is over 4 million votes. Why do we have a, what's that?
What?
The Electoral College.
Oh, yeah.
Why do we have that? If we have a pure democracy and we believe in freedom, one person, one vote. The majority wins. This woman, I don't hate Hillary. I don't deal with Hillary. But the point is, in a pure democracy, technically, she should be president. But here's how they worked it. The forefathers worked it. They don't want the average person to decide, because this land, remember, they rebelled against their masters to take this land for themselves,
right,
and the greed that was involved in it.
Right.
So I don't believe this democracy stuff they talk about. They don't believe in it.
Well, because it's propaganda.
Yeah.
If we can just get the people to believe that they have a choice and a voice,
right, they make you feel good.
That's all we need. We just need them to
Vote
believe
every
they
so
have
many
the choice.
years. Yeah.
That's the choice is really. You get your little voting thing. I voted.
Right. Why is democracy so against socialism? Now, I live in a neighborhood. I live in a cul-de-sac. If my neighbor was sick and needed a ride, I'm going to give him a ride to the hospital, or I'm going to let him use
You're
my
not going to say do for yourself.
Yeah, let me see your insurance card. I'm not going to do that. So why is socialism so bad and democracy so good? If democracy in its purest form is very brutal.
Oh, yes.
In its purest form, it's very brutal. But see, socialism is like everybody's the same. Okay, you're a doctor. I'm a pilot. We have a job. We do our certain jobs. Okay, you might make $15 an hour. I might make $15 an hour. But we're all the same. We're a community.
Cuba.
There it is.
Cuba, but people were mad at that. Oh, Castro was a horrible person, and this, that, and the other did exactly what you said. Nobody is going to be eating top sirloin, right, and then somebody's going to be down here eating dog food.
Right.
We're going to level the playing field as much as possible.
China. See, this is why people got to really look into democracy. China. Here's a communist country, the biggest communist country out there. They have the best economy. They have an economy based on capitalistic principles. But everybody's taken care of. They got a place to live. They all eat.
Right. Right.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I mean, we talked about this. The last hour. California is now they say the worst and most expensive place to live. Now, yeah, you hear they got the sunshine, sunshine, and all these attractions and stuff. But hell, if you don't have a little bit of money,
you ain't gonna survive.
It's a struggle. There's people out here, working 2, 3, 4 jobs just to say, damn, I paid the rent this month, or hustling and all kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's how white people think.
Right.
I got it. You don't got it. Too bad. And the fact that you don't got it because I probably took it somewhere down the road makes you a bad person.
Exactly. Here in California, you could live in a shack in Costa Mesa. That shack is worth almost $500,000.
Yeah, they said somewhere in Compton and South Central, houses are going for $1 million.
Yes. The original Compton, where the white people actually lived, which is near Compton Airport, the little airport over there. In that little area, that's where the Crips and stuff really actually started. These are like little houses that a good example is the movie Friday. That's a neighborhood like that. Oh, yeah. The houses are right there. They're not really much to them. The yards are, whatever.
They're good, stable, old houses.
But all of those homes are almost worth $1 million.
Compton.
In Compton.
What does that tell you?
Exactly.
Exactly. But yet they're mad because people of color, black people, specifically, are saying, all right, damn it, that's enough.
Well,
going back over there with all of that stuff. Everything on the planet don't belong to you.
Right. Right, and I think it's a shame, and I think what's really a shame is why aren't the news outlets showing this
because
stuff?
this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but as you say, I doubt it. Okay, we don't want to show this, round the clock on the news because for one, we don't want black people around the planet to say what.
That's
what?
Right, yeah.
Because overall, the word is that we don't read. We're not gonna go search it for ourselves. So we not listen. As long as they cooning, Tiffany Haddish is on the Oscars doing the nay and walking out there in house shoes. We gonna put that, and not just her, but it was Maya Rudolph as well. They was cooning a little bit because we could put them up there. Great, because that that's Spike Lee that said that's liquor for black people. But what we not gonna do is put on our news segment that black people in South Africa. Not only standing up, but they kicking the white people out. And not only kicking the white people out, we taking their land. Not only are we taking the land, we ain't giving them nothing for it.
Right, no
Can you imagine? That would be like what Wakanda or Black Panther is doing, but it's some real life stuff.
Right.
So we ain't going to be able to talk about that.
Right. Because it might give us ideas.
Even the fact that white people are saying, help us. They killing us over here. They're not even really talking. You got the white girl on YouTube. She's talking about it. Alex Jones.
Well, here's what I don't understand. As I looked at the video, okay, you have these white people that have stolen this land for over hundreds of years. So they should have had an accumulated wealth. How is 25% of a population that had the wealth all of a sudden don't have anything?
Maybe those are the ones that hang out with black people or something. I don't know. Maybe they've been ostracized.
Right. But 25%, that's a significant amount of people.
Right.
And then they were interviewing one lady, and she said, well, the first chance I get to leave, I'm going to leave. Well,
bye.
Leave. Yeah, well, leave.
What are you waiting on?
Where's your money? Okay, if you had a house and the government took that house from you,
go back home.
Right.
Like, how y'all white people tell us, go back to Africa. Well, go back to Dutchland.
Dutchland.
And the UK, all the other places. Y'all, listen, y'all got places to go. They're not even going to say, well, what kind of white person are you? They're going to say, come on in.
And let me tell you guys this. Do your homework. Do your research. The Dutch colonization of Africa, out of all of the colonialists that came there, they were the most brutal.
Brutal. You are not lying.
They were the most brutal.
Which is kind of explains the
animosity.
Or animosity and animalistic behavior that they have enacted or exacted, I guess you could say, on everybody else on the planet. I just want to know. I had to just sit back on this. I'm thinking, how do you brutalize a people? Let's just say even that day. How do you walk out to the field, whip the shit out of somebody for picking a pound less of cotton than they were supposed to, or go rape somebody's mama, go put a baby up in her, probably the 5th baby you done put up in that woman, and go home and sleep at night.
Like a baby.
And then get up and do that all over again. How you gotta be a pretty animalistic person. You got to be a savage to do that to somebody. And then here we are, roughly 400. Listen, I ain't no Christian.
Yeah, turn the other cheek now.
I know that might shock some people, but I'm not a Christian. I do believe in a higher power, all of that stuff.
I'm an old school Christian. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Okay, well, but then there's some Christians who say, no, we don't really follow that testament anymore.
I know.
We've been saved by the blood and all this other stuff.
So basically the Old Testament has no relevance. That's bullshit.
Well, you're just supposed to forgive now. That's what they tell you. Which is why, somebody go up in the church and kill people and they just forgive them. So, but it's just like, how do you, then even almost 500 years later, you have their descendants saying, oh, we'll get over it. It wasn't us that did it, but you are reaping the benefits of what your barbaric ancestors have done to my people.
Are you talking about Africa or are you talking about the United States?
I'm talking about United States, but I'm talking
you see what I'm saying? You see what
exactly. Where's the difference? I'm talking about everywhere. So, I have some white people who would try to challenge me on that. And I'm like, well, when you start coughing up this money that you benefited from my ancestors taking that ass beating, then we'll be even.
Let me ask you this, because what you're saying is not true. Have you noticed that when you start talking the real, white people get offended by that?
Because they are operating on delusions. They are. There's delusion of, they've been, because what you're not going to do as somebody who was white, now I know I ain't been on a white tangent in a minute, but it's time.
It's time. It's time.
But what you're not going to do if you're a white, let's say you're a white grandfather. Let's say old enough to, great grandfather, or somebody's old enough to remember slavery, what you're not going to say is, honey, grand honey, I remember a time when I used to see my daddy whip the hell out of them slaves for not picking cotton. You know, gosh, yes, yeah, you know, Miss Sally, who's kind of black and white, well, she's not really just a slave. She's your sister too. And you know, you're not gonna tell your people that. Right. You're gonna tell them, listen.
Strom Thurmond.
Yeah, it was what we had to do in order to obtain wealth. It wasn't that bad. Slaves got to eat good on Sundays, and we did give them some shoes and clothes, and they had a place. You're going to make it sound good. You're not going to tell them.
And you're going to justify it in the Bible. See, in the Bible, it says
exactly. Okay. You're going to tell them if there's a such thing, the upside of slavery. You're not going to tell them the brutality that their family took part in.
But usually when you tell a story, there's also a counter story. If you had to do that to obtain wealth, what do you think your opposition is going to do?
They're going to tell the story as well. But since we as black people right now only own less than 3% of the media, the ones that own the 97% or however much white people own themselves, they're going to be able to tell their side of it and get that out. They're going to be able to disseminate that information. Right. Well, the flip side of that, with the things going on in South Africa, they're not disseminating that information because all over the world. Right. They don't want to do that.
Okay. And I know people are listening and saying, well, that's bull. You know, you don't have any proof of that. Here's a video clip of a black man who was caught on white land, and the white guys caught him, tried to stuff him in a coffin and like shut him down or whatever the deal is. And these guys were sentenced to whatever. And it wasn't the first time that they did this. And the narrative that these Afrikaners are trying to put out there is that black people are just coming onto their farmland and murdering them.
And that's some bullshit. Excuse me. But we know that if that was taking place, we'll go ahead and play the clip first.
Let's play the clip.
What was meant to be a celebration of Eckhart Skitter's 76th birthday had a horrific end.
Skitter, his wife, and their 33-year-old son Lutz, who had flown in from Germany, were all killed. Their mutilated bodies were found by the couple's other son, who had arrived for a family braai.
The suspects fled the property with several firearms and the couple's bakkie. The murders have left neighbors shaken and devastated.
As I'm standing here now, I'm very emotional.
Farmers Union Kwanalu says there have been 2 other farm murders in the Richmond area this year. Last year, there were 67 farm attacks in the province, in which 10 people were murdered.
We need to see sentences that are going to be very clear and strong and send a message out to criminals.
Provincial police believe the close working relationship they have with farming communities will help make the difference in solving this case, and those responsible will soon be tracked down. Judith Subin, Richmond.
Know more about your world. ENCA.com.
And there it is. I mean,
so like I said, if white people were being murdered at mass rates by black people, it'd be on the news. There'd be every ship from every white country on the planet going over there to help them.
And here's what people don't understand. I know people listening on the radio. Technology. There's cameras everywhere. If there is such proof of that, there would be
it's what's called propaganda.
Right.
It's that
but
propaganda.
Here's proof of here's the actual video of the black man being stuffed in the damn coffin.
And you seen the videos too where the white people were segregated off from everyone else.
They have their own towns.
Yeah, and we don't want to associate with black people. Well, get the fuck out.
Right.
You know, go back to where you're from if you don't want to. How I'm going? That's not even. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm hopped up on coffee. That's like me coming in your house and saying, I don't want to associate with you. You need to go somewhere. It doesn't matter. You know, I remember the episode of not All My Children. Married Children, where Al Bundy ropes himself off in the house.
He's on vacation.
Yeah, but he's still in the house. That's like me going setting up shop in your living room and setting up some boundaries. Now I don't want to associate with you.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Where you get off?
Here's what I don't understand. They put this narrative out that we're stinky and we're this and we're animals and we're apes, but yet we have all these half-breed babies and things like that.
Yeah, we wasn't apes when your granddaddy, your great-great-great-granddaddy, hell, even some of y'all daddies is trying to get up in us and planting these, seeds up in us. We wasn't no apes then.
Right.
You know,
I just don't understand to me, it's almost.
It's sick.
Yeah,
let's call it what it is. It's a sickness to think that I can do, and I maybe just you in hell. We in 2018 where white people still doing heinous things to black people, not even just in Africa, but over here. Okay, they think that there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not confused because I kind of understand how they think, but they have this mentality is well, we can do it to y'all. We just don't want to do it to us.
But payback is a mother when it does come. It's going to come. Karma is something.
It's coming.
Right.
It's coming. And they're starting to see that. And so I'm not saying that anybody should do violent things to people. Right. But like Julius Malema said, he says, we haven't started killing people yet.
Right.
So what he said, I believe what he's saying is, listen, do it the way we want you to do it, peacefully. Take your ass and go. But if you don't, it's going to be like Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. Because you know what? That's what you guys did to everybody else. Right. White people did that to everybody else on this planet, have killed and stolen everything they got, and they are unapologetic about it. So now all of a sudden, we're supposed to show some compassion.
So you do not think that they should be compensated?
No. That's like you coming to steal my car, and I say, Donovan, I'll buy it back from you. That's exactly what it's like. So why should you be compensated for something that you didn't legally obtain in the first place?
It's been in my family for 300 years.
I don't give a damn. You stole it 300 years ago.
But
it didn't belong to you. Don't matter. I can prove your ass is lily white as the dripping snow, and you wasn't born over here in Africa. So I can prove that you got over here by some means, and I'm quite sure it wasn't legally.
And here's a lot of, like I said, I wish people would really do their research on this, because they're not just telling this to the white people, they're telling it to the Indians.
Take your ass and
anybody that is not of African descent has to leave.
Take your ass and go. No hard feelings.
Yeah, no hard feelings.
But take your ass and go.
Because in Africa, in a lot of the African countries, the people that are of Indian descent control the economy.
Right. Well, and then, no shade to the Indians either, but over here in America, I mean, they weren't nice to slaves either. Exactly. In fact, a lot of them had slaves, and they formed treaties with the white slave owners in order to keep us subjected. So, I mean, absolutely. A lot of times we go to school and they tell us Indians were, I'm not saying the Indians weren't victims too. They were victims, but Indians did a lot of victimization, victimizing black people as well.
Indians were victims of the British Empire. And now, even today, even though they're free, they live in a caste system to where, you're at a certain level and you stay at that level. That's something that's indicative to their culture.
Right.
So we have nothing to do with that. I mean, if you look at it in the modern age, and when I say the modern age, I'm talking about from 1650 to current.
Right.
Black people are not forcing anybody to do this, do that, and whatever. Yeah, we have our anomalies in these warlords and these people that there's always going to be somebody that's going to enrich themselves.
Right.
And again, it happens here in the United States. We have our Maxine Waters. We have our Corrine Browns. We have our Chaka, whatever his name
Golden?
is.
I don't know why he wants to say Golden.
I forgot his last name. But, so you're always going to have somebody that's going to do the what masses bidding.
Right.
To enrich themselves. And that's in every culture, white, black, whatever. You're going to have that. But again, Omarosas, you got all these people.
Well, Omarosa's on Big Brother now. Now she's dropping dirt.
No, wait, didn't she get voted off?
Hell if I know. Last time I was on, last time she was on there, I heard she was dropping, dimes on Trump sleeping with people.
She was just enough for ready, but for $1.3 million, she got to do what she's got to do. I'm not mad at her.
I hope she using most of that money for security system.
Yeah, she's gonna need it.
Don't drink no coffee laying around.
But again, we do this show because when I told you about it, I mean, you had heard about it, but when I told you to check it out and see what was going on, it was eye opening to me, because I was like, subconsciously when I saw the video and the guy was telling me you need to get out, and I had heard about the parliament had voted to take their land, I was like, yeah, that's correct. I didn't have a problem with it. I was like, that seems correct to me.
Well, when the narrative is painted from a point of view of those savages, they're going to kill white people, if we don't get them out of there. And so, like I said, they got this petition going around, bringing the white people over here. What they going to come over here and do?
Right.
I guarantee you there's some Negroes that sign the damn petition. Oh, my God, it's really not fair. Let's help them. They're going to come over and take your black ass job.
I accidentally signed it because somebody told me it was something else. No, and that's another thing, really. When you see these petition people in front of Walmarts and stuff like that, you better read what they're asking you to sign.
Or ask them, what is this? And most times, you ask them, Because I've asked her, well, what is it exactly? Because I know you get 2,000-3,000 signatures. I don't mind helping you out, but at least be able to tell me what it is I'm signing.
Right.
I don't know, it's just something about the license plates.
Right.
Well, what is? Are you going to make me pay $100 more?
Right.
I mean,
but
what
even
is
if they tell you, you better read it for yourself, because sometimes they tell you stuff that isn't true.
Right.
So, you know, put niggas in slavery, you just signing away.
Okay, I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, you're going to be helping me out, all right.
So, I mean, it's just important. But like you said, we take the sound bites and we don't look at stuff, you know, for what it is.
Right.
I mean, we are in a pivotal time in the United States and in the world today.
Mm-hmm.
And Pastor Don has a series on Revelations, and a lot of stuff that he's talking about, you can see is going on right now.
Can he also say that maybe that's applying to, you know, the white people? Would he venture this? Ask him next time you guys sit down.
I'm gonna ask him
I'm
that.
curious.
But I don't think he would say that. But again, we're gonna go work on that. If you guys saw the last show, we are starting to go. Not only we're doing this show here, we're going to start going to do it live. I'm still looking for my camera. It's somewhere in that box.
What camera you had yesterday?
No, I had this one.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That's what's kind of fuzzy. So I have this one here because Pastor Don had his tablet.
Got it.
But I got my camera. I just got to go look for it. I've just been too lazy to look for it.
I go to show you, he don't really need it. He got a whole phone missing.
Yeah, I got a whole phone missing.
And it's been months now.
Yeah, it's been months. But it's in that box somewhere. I know it is. But you know, don't you hate it when...
A working phone.
Yeah, it's working phone. But don't you hate it when you have something and you say, okay, I'm going to put this where I won't forget it.
Yeah.
And you put it in, it's like, I can't remember where I put it.
Right, I've done that quite a bit. Yes.
And speaking of doing stuff quite a bit, how is our roving militant doing, Deanna? How's she doing?
She's doing well. She'll actually be here not this Friday, but the next Friday. She's flying in from school for 10 days.
Okay, wait, it's spring break?
Spring break.
It's still wintertime, though.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, Easter is on April Fools as well, too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It is. That is. So she's going to come down here and just recharge her batteries.
Drive me crazy. She's going to have me put on the pumps and the fishnets, pantyhose, because she likes to pimp me. I'm talking about my daughter.
Right.
Mom, can you do this? Mom, can you do that? Mom, can we get this? Mom, that's making a song, huh? And you guys forgive me. I know I probably annoyed you guys with my voice. I've been sick, but I just could not do the show today. I probably should be at home, but I won't sit down, so I might as well.
Are you congested, or is it you got a cold, or what?
It's really like from the neck up. Okay. I've just been around a lot of sick people, but I would say being a vegan has saved me from, the nauseousness and people. I've seen people just out of it.
Yeah, that was it.
I've not been out of it. The first day I got sick, I spring cleaned my room, got rid of a bunch of clothes and stuff.
Aired out the thing.
Yesterday I went to the store and hung out with my nieces and nephews.
And the funny thing is, a lot of people that don't know that. You got to open your windows.
Open up the windows.
People just be in a room that's all hot and stuff. And the germs are everywhere.
Just ricocheting off of each other. But no, I'm just from the neck up. But I actually feel pretty good. I haven't been incapacitated.
How is little man Isaac?
He's doing well. You know what? That's my little nephew. You talking about Isaac, Jeremiah's little boy?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's doing very well. He's
being big brother and all.
One of the smartest little dudes I know. This boy reads about 10 books a week.
Oh, excellent.
He loves to read. Very intuitive. I mean, just highly intelligent. I also think he's going to be a comedian because he likes the jokes. He likes the funnies.
All right.
But like I said, I've been spending some time with them, so I like hanging out with them. I remember when the older people used to say, I love the grandkids. These are my nieces and nephews, by the way. But I love the grandkids because you can send them home.
Send them home.
That's how I feel about my nieces. I love them to death.
With the times there?
Yes, but when they go home, it's like their mom and daddy got them now,
Actually, speaking of that, my nephew will be here.
Oh, spring break is coming up.
Well, his mother's going on 12-hour shifts at the base.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so she needs me to help out. So he'll be staying over here till Sunday. And so I'll have duty to do that. But that, doesn't... And he's seen Black Panther twice.
Oh, so you got to go take him to see it.
Well, I don't know if he wants to see it a third time, but
why not?
You never know. But but this is what we mean back in the day. We had extended families. Why should my sister-in-law spend $400-500 for some stranger
to watch the kids
when it only takes me a couple of hours or whatever to do what I got to do, and just.
And luckily, he's not bad. See, that's another thing, y'all. Don't be sending y'all badass kids to the relatives or the friends talking about, can you watch them?
Yeah.
I could, but they bad as a mother, so I ain't going to. Luckily, I don't have that problem with my niece.
Well, Uncle, I'm old school. I will tap first and then ask questions.
I usually just get them by the ear, to get their attention. I had to do that to my nephew last week. He thought I was playing And then I also told them that I was going to do the Tasmanian Devil. You know how I spun around? And they was kind of messing around, and I did the Tasmanian Devil. And my niece was like, Tia!
She's so cute. She's so cute. But what are you going to be talking about Sunday?
We're going to be talking about Black misleadership and politics and just the history of it to some degree into modern day time.
Okay, great. That's going to be great.
God willing to have my voice back.
Yes. Check Demetria K out on Sundays. I'm telling you, she's talking the real 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
We got a lot more things coming up. The Hot Seat, I'm going to be talking about tomorrow on the Hot Seat radio show. I'm going to be talking about the corruption that is still going on and the recalls going on in the city of Moreno Valley. We did that in the first hour, but again, I'm going to reiterate that and see what's going on and direct us. We still have a water problem here in Moreno Valley. People just don't seem to give a damn when it doesn't affect them.
So they get a third hand going over their forehead or something.
Stuff like that. So we've got that going on. And again, just keep up the great work. Dee has more followers now than I do. It's a damn shame.
I paid for them.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, this has been To The Hardware. We're going to see you guys again next week. You guys take care, be safe, and remember, if you ain't in the right country, go to your own country.
Get the hell out. Peace.